the power of entrepreneurship is that the amount of money that you can make is unlimited. AI is a HIPAA breach waiting to happen. You're one patient complaint away from having to address something. And again, what's your process? Do you have one? Does your team know? You just gonna let it just sit there on Google? Like, what do you do? If all insurance goes away, what am I going to do? As our administration just pulls things out of their butt, we have to be prepared for that. The owners who are the most relaxed, it is because they have set their businesses up so that way they can have a business that is truly set up for them to have freedom and for their teams to thrive. Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Hello. Welcome back to CEO Conversations. This is Brandy Mabra, and today we are just making a statement of stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And this was inspired because one of the things I am noticing is that there is like a race where, oh no, the bank account is dry and I need money. Or, oh no, there is a big life event that is happening and I'm not prepared for it. Or, oh no, I am about to go on maternity leave and I don't know what to do. Or, oh no, I really need a vacation and I can't leave because of my team. And so I am of the stance of let's be proactive, and you are going to hear me say that on repeat. And so this conversation is about stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you are just prepared for what is going to happen, because it is going to happen, then guess what? You don't have to have unnecessary stress. You don't have to scramble. You don't have to try to figure out as much as what you would have to figure out if you came from the stance of this is probably going to happen. This is the thing though, too, because as I am talking, what's coming up for me is you don't know what you don't know. You don't. And guess what? That is the power of when you have somebody who has been able to build a business, multiple businesses, all the way up to 100 million. I know what's coming down the pike. So today's conversation is going to help you so that way you can stay ready and don't have to get ready. So let's talk about healthcare economy, right? So I've been talking about healthcare economy. I did an episode on Cigna. I've done episodes on One Big Beautiful Bill, with Trump being in office, all the craziness. And the healthcare economy and our economy is a little wonky. Newsflash, I'm sure you know. I'm sure you feel it just like I do. Changes of patient behavior, changes of our behavior as people and how we are perceiving things. And I had such an interesting conversation with a client. And I just love this. I love this for me as being an entrepreneur, and I love this for her because she's an entrepreneur. But there was an expensive thing that she had to do. And she said, quote unquote, I am so happy that I have the job that I have, because at the end of the day, the power of entrepreneurship is that the amount of money that you can make is unlimited, right? However, when you are speaking that, the lens that she's speaking it from is there is runway that she has. There is the fact that we've been working together for the past 3, almost 4 years. There is the mindset resets that have happened over the years, and she is in a position where she is ready, so she ain't got to get ready. So there was an expensive thing that had to happen, and she was able to cover it. And then she actually came from the stance of, I am grateful that I was in a position to be able to cover it. I am going through that right now. There are things that I am going through where I am grateful for my past self that I made the decisions that I made so that way my future self can be thankful. So when we're talking about this, it is all about your current self now. What does your future self need, right? So when we think about economy, again, it's hard. And, healthcare system is broken. And what are we going to do about it? We have to stay ready so we don't have to get ready. So some of the changes with the payers, some of the changes with, folks going in and out of network, there's going to continue to be the loops that we're going to have to jump through when it comes to prior authorizations, with making sure that patients are set up, making sure that claims get paid, all of that. We know all that. That is going to continue. So what needs to happen inside of your business so that way your business can be sustainable? That's the decision, right? So if you decide to have a healthcare business, especially a private practice, that is what your decision is, right? So you have to prepare for that. A lot of the conversations that we've had is let's get your business to run without you. Let's get your team to run without you. And I've been very much about like, so that way you can take time off. You can be on vacation. You can take rest days and things. But there is the realness of there are other times where you are going to have to be out of the office. So happy things are like, I have a baby. I'm getting ready to take a maternity leave. Yay, that's so good. And then there are going to be times where, for me specifically, let's use my life story where your mother is diagnosed with dementia and now you have to take unexpected time off, right? And so there are things in life that are going to happen that you just have to be prepared for. When we think about things from a financial standpoint, you have to prepare during times of plenty for times of lean. That is in the Bible, and there is examples of that, and that is very true when it comes to business. And so as we are adjusting to economic shifts, as we are adjusting to life shifts, as we're adjusting to business shifts, we have to be prepared. And a lot of times what happens is, I've said this, we did an episode about sleep, and we just act like this is never going to happen to us. And that's how we move in the world. And I'm not saying that you have to really kind of summon, all the bad things. That's not what this is. But we do know that there are ups, highs, and lows, and mountains and valleys. And we do know that when it comes to life. And so we can control what we have control over. And we can make sure that our businesses are set up for it. Our lives are set up for it. Our habits are set up for it. Just how we naturally move is set up for it. So that way, when it does happen, we're okay, right? So when it comes to revenue, I know a lot of folks always think that, oh, let me hit the magical 7 figures. And I've said this on social, I've said it on this podcast, I am not impressed by anybody's revenue status at all, because I know what happens in a high level business when it comes to profitability, when it comes to team, when it comes to business culture. Just because you are making a certain amount of money inside of your business means nothing. It does not tell me that that is a good place to work. It does not tell me that you are profitable. It does not tell me that you are happy. It does not tell me that you have good leadership. What it tells me is that there's a certain amount of revenue that comes in the door. So what folks think is, if I get to $1 million, if I get to 7 figures, everything, there's going to be sunshine and rainbows and unicorns, and everything's going to, the sky is going to open and magical things are going to fall down and my life is just going to be amazing. And that is sometimes not true, right? So a lot of times when you are at that 7-figure mark, I want everybody to get to 7 figures. We have multiple clients at this point in time. Like, I've had to actually create a whole new stage within Private Practice CEO because of the amount of 7-figure business owners that we have. With that, there is additional stresses that come with it, right? There is freedom that comes with it because you have team that can help. But the difference maker is that the owners who are the most relaxed, it is because they have set their businesses up leadership-wise, foundationally-wise, numbers-wise, revenue-wise, like all of it. So that way they can have a business that is truly set up for them to have freedom and for their teams to thrive. If you are in a place where you feel that the money piece is going to the difference, if I could just make more money, you are setting yourself up for failure. And you are setting yourself up for what could potentially be something that could harm you, right? So I have 7-figure business owners who come to me, who work with me, who missed systems that need to be implemented foundationally, missed certain key hires, have people on their team that have been with them for way too long, should have been fired a long time ago. And they're not happy, right? And so to have that type of money coming in, foundationally, you have to be set up. Right. And so it's important for you to understand that systems is important. Your leadership is important. The clarity for the vision is important. And if any of those things are missing, the money can come in and you won't know what to do with it. It's not going to make you happy. You're going to be confused. You're going to overspend. You're going to not put it in the right places. And you're not ready. Right. And so at the end of the day, the foundational habits that you have when it comes to revenue, foundational habits that you have with your time, foundational habits that you have with your energy are super important. because that's what creates a stable business. And so some of the gaps that can happen in your systems, honestly, can be connected to lack of things being documented. I think bare bones and where people oversimplify is like, oh, if I just write down a policy and procedure or a good SOP, then that's good. No, it's not. It's not. Like there's like any good system is only as good as the accountability and the expectations that are behind it. What I also know happens is that people will take other people's SOPs and policy and procedures and try to implement them inside their businesses. And it doesn't work because it's not based on what your business needs. You have to know what your business needs. And with the team that you have in place today, and the goals that you have in place and the workflows that you have in place and the tools that you use are all bases for how your systems are going to function. No system can function without leadership. So if there's nobody there to get the system going, to start the pillar to move, the flywheel, like it's not going to happen. It won't work. It'll fall flat. It'll be there. It'll be in some vault or in some hub or on some piece of paper in somebody's email, and it'll just be there, right? So the accountability and the expectations is super important. And again, have those conversations starting out at the beginning. If your team already knows what the expectations are, if your team knows that this is what is required to work here, or this is what the position entails, or this is what we have to do, then there's no surprise, right? And so a lot of times too is when people first start working with me, I'll be super honest is that there are people who leave. Teams turn over. I've turned over a numerous amount of teams, and I've helped my clients turn over teams. And the reason why is because there is a misalignment between who they've hired and what the business needs. And so this happens in business. It always happens in business. You get to a next stage of business and one or two things happen. There's a whole episodes on this where either the team that you've hired is a good fit. So the team that's in the position either outgrows that position or the business outgrows the person in the position. And that means that at every single stage, you will need somebody new, right? You will need somebody who has a new skill set, somebody who maybe has a new strength, or the team in that position needs to learn a new skill set, or they need to enhance their strengths, or the culture fit. Sometimes the culture changes, sometimes the mission changes, sometimes the vision changes. All of these things are okay. Your job is to lead through it and to be honest about it and open about it. Because I know that there's some folks, like I hosted a workshop. I hosted like the first iteration of the Profit Playbook. And it was interesting. A couple of people came and they were like, well, I think I'm good. And there's always those. And I'm sure listening to this podcast, there's probably some folks who are like, I'm good. I'm great. I'm amazing. Okay. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said. You don't know what you don't know. And unless if you've seen it, then you won't even know that this is even possible. So here are some things, here's some nuggets of information to help you out. I'll start with AI. So we're having a lot of conversations this month around AI. We have implemented AI office hours where folks can show up. You can walk through any kind of AI that you're trying to implement. But my stance has been about the leadership of AI. That is my stance. It is one of the reasons why I'm not showing up and talking about, well, this is how you connect Claude to your email, or this is like the in the weeds tactics. Because when it comes to AI, the leadership piece is super important. The compliance piece is super important. The higher level thought process is super important. And people are missing that part. So you try to roll it out to a team and it falls flat or people don't understand it. And it's because the higher level thought process wasn't there. So we've seen this. We saw this with Salesforce. They went through this whole AI implementation and then lost all this money because they missed the fact of needing a human touch. We have seen it with Uber. Uber implemented this whole AI strategy and went through their AI budget already. And so now there is data that's starting to come out where the AI budgets are starting to become more expensive than actual team members. People are missing the mark. When we think about this from a healthcare lens, the compliance piece is super important. AI is a HIPAA breach waiting to happen. And so you have to make sure that you are fully set up when it comes to the risk management of it, when it comes to the compliance piece of it, making sure that you are talking to your lawyer, making sure you are talking to your risk management teams, making sure your team understands fully what they can and cannot do with AI, that you have policy and procedures. Because I've been part of large hospital systems, I know whenever you try to roll out any kind of tool, it takes years. I mean, years to get it right. And the reason why is because the privacy of patients' information, if it gets leaked, it's expensive. It is super expensive. And it's not just as simple as, oh, I'm using Claude or my team is using an AI scribe. No, it goes so much deeper. So we have literally been putting through our clients' heads and putting them through just the training of, if you have an agent, what's the job description for the agent? If you are connecting systems, what's actually being shared? Do you know, right? If you are using a company, what is their HIPAA guidelines? Like what are they doing with the information? Do you have a BAA in place? Do you have a risk management policy? Is your team member aware of what your policy and procedures are when it comes to AI? Like there's so much that's going into these conversations because it's not simple. So if you don't know that, guess what's going to happen? If you're not ready because you didn't know, then fast forward, because what's getting ready to happen, some of these companies are going to merge, some of these companies are going to be sold, some of these companies are going to change ownership, and all of that information that they do or do not have, what's going to happen with it? So again, AI is a HIPAA breach waiting to happen, and that's how we have to look at it, right? We have to look at it as our patient's data is already leaked. Are we prepared for that? Do we have the proper intake forms? Do we have the proper paperwork? Is the practice protected? Is the business protected? Are you protected as an owner? So these are the conversations. The second part of it is just the changes with health insurance. It's understanding healthcare industry. So that is what I continue to preach. It is not enough for you to know about your specialty or what's happening inside of with your credential, or we only talk about this diagnosis, or we only work with this patient population. No, like you have to know healthcare industry, because in healthcare as a business, because it is changing, it is evolving. And as the economy continues to change, as our administration just pulls things out of their butt, then we have to be prepared for that, right? And so we have to think about, okay, again, if all insurance goes away, what am I going to do? If nobody can pay the private practice fees that I have, or the self-pay rates that I have, or the invoices, what am I going to do, right? You have to think that way, because you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. The complaints of it. So even from a team perspective, the more that you hire, the bigger your team gets, the bigger your business gets, then there is going to be things that will happen. There will be a complaint. There was a couple years ago, we hosted a retreat in LA, and I was talking about the pathway to your vision. And so one of the pathways to your vision was that you would get a complaint, a big complaint that would rock your business. Either it would be on Google, or it would be some big, massive thing that you would have to handle. And so at the end of the day, these things are come as part of business. So what's your process? What do you want to do when that big complaint happens? So a lot of times, more times than not, our patients are happy. Things are good. We take really great care of the clients and the clientele and the patients that come in the door. Amazing. I'm happy for you. That's great. You're one patient complaint away from having to address something. So you have to make sure that you're setting yourself up for that. And again, what's your process? What's your service recovery process? Do you have one? Does your team know? You just going to let it just sit there on Google? Like, what do you do? Do you have any idea? So it's like those types of things. And then the last thing is just being able, and I touched on this earlier, is again, life happens. Life is always always, always going to happen. The good things of life, the amazing parts of life, and then also the not so amazing parts of life. And so I want everyone here to have fully healthy families, and I want you to be healthy and I want you to be happy. But there are things in life that just sometimes happen, right? And that is just the plight of it. You have to be prepared for it. So this goes back to even simple things. As a business owner, do you have life insurance? As a business owner, do you have an estate plan? As a business owner, what would happen, right? If you needed to take care of a family member, are you prepared for that? Do you have the time on your calendar to be able to handle those things? So a lot of the things that are happening in business, again, are not happening to us. It's because we did not take the time to actually prepare for it. And then the situation happened. So proactiveness is such an amazing word. And just being proactive are things that are within our control that I really want everyone to do. I've had so many clients go through things and they have been able to manage them beautifully. And some of them have been rocked to their core when it's happened. But the main thing is that during those seasons, so I think about maternity leaves, and it is amazing because we will talk about like, well, you could get this off your plate. You could get this off your plate. And then all of a sudden, I'm pregnant and I have a baby that's coming, and all of a sudden delegation becomes like second nature. Well, I could hire this person. I need to hire this person. I need to get this off my plate. I need to have this conversation. I need to hold this person accountable. This person's got to go. This person can stay. I had a conversation with this person. I promoted this person. I gave a raise to this person. I fired this person. Like everything that you need to do as an owner all of a sudden happens because life forced you to step into the CEO power that you have and the CEO ownership that is rightfully yours all the time. You can own your CEO status any day of the week, but you don't want to be put in a situation where life it lovingly encourages you or maybe stressfully encourages you to do the things that are just best practices and do the things that you need to do today, right? So the whole point of this is to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And my question for you is what needs to change, right? So you are working in your business. You are in the trenches every single day. What can you change? If you have no idea, go back and pour into all the episodes that are here. But I guarantee you that there is probably one thing that is sitting on your plate that you could change today if you decided to. So my question for you is, what is that? If you feel like you need some help, then of course I am here. So there are two ways that you can definitely work with me. There is the Profit Playbook. This is my newest workshop, which I'm super excited about, where we are diving into the realness of business when it comes to not just the money piece, but the time piece and the energy piece and the realness of what it takes for you to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And then also there is Private Practice CEO that is available to you. So if you are in a place where you need deeper support and more accountability and support, because that's really what it is. Like I believe that between ChatGPT and Claude and all the things, there's no business strategy that you don't really know, but it's the accountability and the support of having somebody who has done it before you, who has seen what you haven't seen, and who can talk you off the ledge or lovingly push you to a place of, you got it. And that is the power of Private Practice CEO. So not only partnering with me, but also an amazing community of support too. So that is there for you if you would like to check the show notes. But at the end of the day, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I will see you guys next time. All right. Bye. Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.